Oh, I'm getting really pissed off with this. Yeah, alright, that'll do. The amount of times that's fucking fell off. Do you know what it is half the time? It's not even the big things that piss me off. It's like the little shit throughout the day. Faffing about with stuff. You know, so many things can go wrong in a day. And people, people that end up fucking doing certain things, whether it be in a story or this reality, like, you can judge them, but, you know, you, you, right, might not be even, like, capable of withstanding the pressure that they went under. You might have been worse than they were. Because the thing is character reactivity, like, it's fucking relative, innit, to the individual. So, let's say, like, the Joker film, for example, right? He went through quite a lot in that film, right? And I'm not saying it's okay to become like to do stuff like that necessarily. But at the same time, if you're coming from a place of judgment for somebody who becomes something like that, and sometimes judgment's grounded, because if you were looking at Ted Bundy, like, you know what I mean? The guy's like up to no good. But, somebody who becomes destructive, you have to understand why that happens. Why do kids shoot up schools? I've talked about this before, but, put yourself in the position of the person who's fucking done that. If reality is entirely negative and that person's getting no understanding, they're getting bullied, they're surrounded by shit that doesn't make any sense to them. After a certain point, some people aren't strong enough to breathe and let go of that shit. And and it's not, strength is like, it's very complex. So somebody might just end up snapping. You know what I mean? So if it's easy to judge people like that, but the judgment itself is usually what causes that kind of thing to happen. We need to take care of each other. I mean, if you look at the statistics, right, of kids that shoot up schools, um, it's usually the kids that are not getting that much attention. The both parents are working. Nobody's adopting like the side of nurture. Now, if that's it, look, right, if you've got a very ambitious woman, fine, like you could do what you want, but if you have a kid, somebody's got to be looking after the kid, like. Otherwise, there's going to be some sort of trouble. Like, you can't just say like, "Well, I've got like, I've like got ambitions." Like, well, I tell you what, your ambition should be if you have a kid to raise the kid fucking properly. And naturally, women are supposed to like they're designed to do that nurture job well. Men can do it as well, obviously, but we have to acknowledge that men and women are equally brilliant, but we're not the same. Elliot Hull said that. I'll always credit. We're not the fucking same. And yeah, like I said, if you're a woman and you have ambitions and you don't want to be fucking cleaning dishes and looking after kids all day, fine, you go and do that. But if you're a woman and you think that you ought to do that and discard your nurturing nature just because the feminist fucking agenda, like, you ought to consider that that might not make you that happy. you know, and just because, like, looking after kids and raising them is a very fucking, like, what's more like your own children? Like, that's pretty fucking meaningful, that. And look, the like, you know, you're both chipping in. Like, maybe there's a way you can sort of look, right, in society. It has people working like specific hours, slaving away. But maybe as a woman, right, you could just work for yourself, look after kids, because then you're managing your own time, yeah. Or maybe the dude could do it, like, do you know what I mean? But if you're like going for some bureaucratical crap like society rubbish, like, you're turning up and you're having to put the hours in, day out, making sacrifices. But if you've got a fucking, like, if you have a child, you have a responsibility to raise that child and care for it and teach it to learn itself properly. And if you don't do that, well, the child then has to pick up the pieces. But you'll figure it out, so long as you're not a fucking idiot. If you've got your values right and you're thinking like, right, I'm ambitious, but I also want my kids to grow up, you'll figure it out. So long as you're thinking outside the box. And like I said, make your own way in the world. Forget all this like strife for societal status and all this shit. What do you want to do? Like, are you a creative person? Well, just be creative then. I mean, like, look, let's say you want to make art, but everybody knows that making it as an artist is like, quite difficult to get a level of status where you can like sell a fucking rock under some glass for $1 million. But like, that just shows what it's all about, doesn't it? Like, this is a credited artist, therefore it's a good piece of art. Well, maybe it's shit, mate, and you need to be able to realise that it's shit if it is. And yeah, it's all subjective. But do you know what I mean? Like, if you want to do art, just do art. Forget about the money. And if you forget about the money, the art might just be fucking good. And yeah, it might be Vincent van Gogh situation where it only really propagates after you've left this world. But whatever, like, if you enjoy doing it, then do it. Forget the money, forget the fucking beamer and the status. Why do you want that? Actually ask yourself, yeah, it's fun. You might want to be like revving it in the Ferrari and turning up like, like, do you know what I mean? But why do you actually want it? Is it to show off? Do you think that's going to make you happy? For how long? That is a side cherry in life, showing off and shit like that. Look, I like doing it. Wow, like, look at me. Everybody likes doing it. You mean, what was Jesus doing when he was walking on water? Like, like, look at what's possible. All that. I mean, I don't discern to know what was going through Jesus's motivation structure at that point, but let's be honest, nobody's perfect, not even Jesus. I mean, what was he doing eating fucking lamb? What was he doing drinking fermented grapes? What was he doing when he said, to his mum, listen, woman, like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody's perfect. Nobody can fucking say that Jesus is perfect. Because I said in the other video, right, God, why have you forsaken me? Now, I empathise that he was in a lot of pain, especially because of the idea that he was bearing everybody's sins that weren't even his fucking, like, he shouldn't have been doing, in my opinion. Like, so nobody's perfect. Because what is perfect? I'm going to go over these points again and again to fucking harp home because they should be putting this on the billboards, like, not fucking Heinz beans, not Gillette razors, not fucking Now TV. It should be, evolution, growth, virtue, perfection is growth. If they started putting that on billboards, you'd see people sprinting down fucking street instead of jogging. You know, somebody falls over, grazes the fucking like knee or something, like screams out in pain, and goes like, "I'm gonna go eat shop." You know what I mean? Like, just get on with it, pal. You know, like if I go around without in winter without a shirt on, everybody's all like, "Well, you okay?" Like, have you heard of the like? People just assume that you fuck like, well, you haven't got any shoes on. Where's your shoes? Where's your feet, pal? Eh? Do you think I don't know what I'm doing? I know there's glass on floor. I've took that risk into account. I decide to do it. Yeah, it might be a bit fucking stupid from a certain point of view, but it works. It grounds you. It gets you used to discomfort and pain so that you can be comfortable in discomfort. You could say, well, there's glass on the floor. Yeah, but there's people free running. If you're on the top of buildings and you make one, you've seen the videos, you make one fucking slip, you're going to crack, you're going to be in trouble. Like, you know what I mean? People do dangerous shit. Why? Because that's what you're supposed to do in some sort of way. You know, you fucking, if you never take any risks, that is the biggest risk that you can ever take, and not in a good way, because you're not going to develop properly. You know, like, fucking the soldiers in army, like, you know, they've got to infiltrate some building. It's like, we're not going to do it because it's too dangerous. Yeah, but it's the necessity of the situation. You can get shot in head, but you've got to go in. You know what I mean? And what you like, I'll move on to another subject here. Why am I going round in a loop? Well, it's because now I've been in like what reality wants me to do, and I'll be transparent. It wants me to be who I am. I'm a warrior, but I'm a warrior who has been raised through comfort and raised in a way that is like, you know, I've done it to myself and other people haven't fucking helped, put it that way. Like, I'm getting doubt out my head. That's the whole point here. And if you awaken your body and start pushing boundaries, you will feel it getting out of your body. The only problem is you have to maintain momentum or you slip back into old patterns. And that's what's been happening to me for fucking ages, right? It's absolutely infuriating. But one thing I can say about myself is I'm still here and I'm still at it, and I will not give up until I fucking die. So you want to call me weak? You don't know me. I don't give up. Now, some people might say, oh, well, like, you know, what is giving up? What is giving up? Like, you know, you're running, like, at some point, like, you're going to stop, aren't you? Does that mean you've give up? You know what I mean? You might fall short of a target. Does that mean you've give up? When I say give up, I mean in your life fucking aim, have you give up on it? Everybody gives up at some point. Do you know what I mean? A fighter, you know, with the confidence and the you know, like, whoa, like, ooh. And then at some point, somebody's going to get the better of them, and then the fear comes in, and they're thinking, fucking hell, this guy might win here. Is it, you know, you could call that giving up, but are they going to get back up and do it again? Because people think, like, oh, like the fighters that have a clean record, like, you know, Tyson Fury did at one point, and like Floyd Mayweather and some other people throughout history. And you look at them numbers and think, like, well, they must be the greatest then. Well, not necessarily. Maybe, but not necessarily. You know, the greatest to me is the person who's overcome the most like difficult obstacles under immense pressures. The person who has fought in the name of truth and love. That's a fucking warrior. And you might be thinking, like, oh, well, you're self-righteous prick. Like, not anymore, I'm not. I just know what I'm capable of. And fucking forgive me for having some self-belief. So what has plagued me for the longest time, right, is when I was younger, I had a kind of impotence towards courage. You know, when it comes to physical pain, I like I have like an apprehension towards it. So when it becomes to getting into like fights and physical situations, that leap of faith, you know, the bit before you turn the cold shower on, that's like, ooh, better give it a minute. Like that apprehension, you have it in some area of your life. And the apprehension with me, when it comes to physical, and now I've been into fights and I've won fights, blah, blah, blah. So don't tell me I've not. But when it comes to an actual journey, one that is very, very demanding, emotionally, physically, and like spirit, like here, this, you know intuitively what it is, what it means to let go. So it's not just about getting into some scrap. It's about like, I know I'm going to go through the gauntlet. It's daunting. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be demanding. And it's the encountering the unknown. Right? And if you've been paying attention, you believe anything I say, you'll know the gravity of what it is that I have before me. So anytime I see a opening, a synchronicity, a white rabbit, I get a bit like, and I'm getting used to it again. Because you keep going at it. Eventually, you're going to get like, not so much desensitized, but acclimatized to the sensation. Now, I've had this sort of like attitude in my head that there's going to be a point where like after I surpass the first obstacle, like it's all going to be easy and plain sailing. No, that feeling of like jump, leap of faith, that never goes away. Never. You just get better at doing it. In fact, it gets harder because the obstacles increase because the universe goes, right, we'll raise the bar. You know, that's how it works. It's never going to get easier. Why would you want it to? You know, this reality, just being itself, is not designed to be easy. Because if it was, the entities that are in it would be bored. You know, what is my like point? What was probably my point in this heavenly realm? Well, there probably wasn't like, I don't believe in like a definitive, like what is stagnant heaven? Like it was probably boring. So it's not heaven anymore, is it? You get my point. I'll keep saying it. And then the people that fucking just want to like coast and like, you know, we don't want any trouble. Like, well, trouble makes you grow. It's not that I want trouble, it's that I need it. I'm not out here to fuck things up. I'm out here to make them fucking improve. And you can say, well, that's a self-righteous motive. You watch me improve it. Watch me. I'm quite intelligent and I don't have any fucking trouble saying it. I can also be an idiot. But nobody's perfect. So, you know, where's the SIGs? Where are they, seriously? Oh, I'm getting stressed out. Here they are. See, I'm on my last SIG and, like, look, this is a bit, you know, I'd start getting stressed out in the past about this. Like, well, I don't have any money and this is my last SIG. What am I going to do? I don't even care now. You know, you get used to it. Being hungry, being skint. And somebody might look down on you about it and say, well, you're not pulling your weight. Like, you know, you need to get in the rat race. You need to get in society. You know, you need to aspire to be a fucking doctor or something. No, I'll do what I want, what makes me happy, and the money will come when it comes. Like my friend of mine said, Mr. Watts, you do what you want, what you enjoy, and forget the money. That's what it's about. Because otherwise, you're chasing paper, pal. You ever heard the fucking song Bittersweet Symphony? Well, go and listen to it if you haven't. I'm pretty sure you have. So am I going to get up and start going at it in a minute? I might do. Because I've just had an intuitive sign that I need to get on with it. So whether I do it tomorrow morning or in a minute, it'll be one of them. If you're struggling with discipline, right, you can't get off your ass, go and put yourself in a position where you have no choice. Have the discipline to do that. Go and burn all your money. Do what I did. Not necessarily, you don't need to do it exactly as I did. Fuck off from your home, burn all your money out, fuck all your possessions off, and go and put yourself in a position where you have a necessity to learn. You have no distractions. Fuck everything off. Empty your pockets and just fuck off. It'll be tough, and it's not like I've had no help. But when you do get help, it makes you appreciate the help. And yeah, I'm on benefits as well, so I do actually get paid. But I did fuck my card off initially and went without any money, walking miles. And look, I don't want your credit. The point is like, if you put yourself in a position like that, you're developing faith and trust in the universe, and you will find that when you make sacrifices and keep going, you will get help along the way, and then you'll start to wonder, why is this happening? So if you're Mr. Atheist, go and fucking find out. Fuck your cognitive dissonance off, stop with the ideology, and go and pay attention, and you'll see. So you can call me Mr. Schizo. Go and fucking find out, and you'll see that I'm telling the truth. So I tell you what, right? Anybody wants to talk to me about discriminatory, fucking derogatory shit? I've been called loony, fucking nutter, schizo. What? You're mentally projecting, pal. You're fucking more nuts than me. And just because society calls you not nuts, oh, that's all right then, is it? Fuck you. See, people only focus on, right, this, right, I don't even fucking give a shit. I'm not that sensitive about this sort of thing. It does make me angry, but I'm not like, I don't really care that much. But, I've been called like daywalker ginger. People give you shit for it just because they can. And if you fucking said to the police or something, I wouldn't do that, but if you said to the police, somebody's been giving me shit because of my hair colour, they'd just be like, whatever, mate, now it'd happen. But, like, if somebody calls like, a black gentleman, the magic word, like, and I'm saying, to be clear, right, to fucking idiots, I'm saying magic as a joke. Like, because I'm not racist. I don't care what colour anybody is or where you're from. But what is discrimination, right? I have certain characteristics, right? I have ginger hair, blah, blah, blah. I might have certain beliefs, blah, blah, blah. Somebody can give me shit for that, and just because it's not like cemented in society as something that's deemed as racist or discrimination, it gives it, you get a free pass. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You don't even stand. Half of you people, right? It might not be you watching this, but half of you people don't even fucking stand by the values relatively that you claim to, right? There was this black guy the other day, right? It was quite a while ago, actually. And look, this is the problem with me, right? Often I stand my ground, but I don't like fight back sometimes. I have done in the past. I've let go and fought, but sometimes I find it hard, right? I was at There was this black guy playing a guitar, and I thought that's lovely. That I'll go have a sit and listen to it. And I got chatting to him, and I started getting red flags in the conversation, and thought like this guy's perception's a bit weird. So I started offering alternate perceptions, and then the conversation like come up to a point where he said like the thing is about you people, and he was saying like white guys, you know. I said, listen, let me stop you right there. I'm not prejudiced. So you're generalizing me because I'm white. You're the one that's being racist here. What? Just because of the fucking history? Like you have a right to generalize my race? Or what? Nobody'll take it seriously because I'm a white guy. So then, because I had a different opinion, he started threatening me, right? So I just stood my ground. He fucking hit me like here. It didn't. It was a shit punch to be fair, but I just stood there like whatever, mate. Like, you know what I mean? Like this. Look, like Jesus would tell you that was right. It never works. And look, I've got to beat that. I've got to stop doing it because what I should have done is knocked his fucking teeth out. And I could have done. I could have snapped him up. Unfortunately, I didn't. But then as I stood my ground, he went for to get a bottle, and then I started getting quite angry. So to be honest with you, right, you think I'm like I must have a bad temper. It takes quite a bit to piss me off, to be honest. But rage is accumulative. I've been mistreated and fucking like, and it's probably karmic because of stuff that I've done in the past, right? But it's getting to the point now where I see dysfunction and illogical nonsense everywhere. Fucking everywhere. And if you ever speak up or say the truth or say any fucking like reasonable questions about it, you see how reasonable they are. They're fucking sickos. Anybody with any fucking virtue or principle that has the guts to say what they fucking think, you watch. Do it. Trust me, do it, and you'll see who these people are. These people who come across as reasonable on the surface at the fucking unintense level of reality, if it ever ramps up, you'll see a fucking demon. And what? I'm the devil because I've got this haircut. You can fuck yourself, mate. Fucking fiends. So, but see, you gotta let go. Never let, like, this is the point, right? You don't want to let, I have these feelings of rage and resentment and things like that, but they don't occupy every single space of my, consciousness. So I can turn it off. I can calm down. I can let go. And that's why I've not turned into a fucking murderer. Because I'm able to calm myself down. I think I'm too calm sometimes. Because, another reason is I'm genuinely afraid of myself in a way. Because when I let go, like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, genuinely in terms of what I'm going to do. But it's about faith and trust, right? I do have faith and trust in myself, but it's all like energetic nonsense. You have to develop it. Because you can say like, well, I'll never fall into the ocean because I'm scared of what's out there. Well, you'll never fucking find out unless you do. You know, I'm scared to roll into the sea again. I'm scared to do it all again. She said it's true. Do 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 do. Calling. I can't remember that song goes. Calling. Calling. Let's do a little sing along now. Calling. Calling. When you look upon the pain and you feel electric in your brain, does it bring you down or does it turn your frown upside down? When you go back to your hometown, do you see your friends running all around? Or do you get visions of it burning down? We're surrounded by jokers and clowns. We're going up, left, right, and down. We're going all around. Worldwide, Mr. Worldwide. In the club, bottle full of bub. Ooh, I give it better dub. Ooh, lub a dub dub. Rub a dub dub. I lost it there, taking piss. Whether that was any good or not, I don't give a shit. I enjoyed doing it. Last cigarette, I'm fucking angry about it. Somebody needs to help me. I need to destroy myself. Oh, right. What percent's this on here? It's been going on for half an hour. Right, 24. Won't be going on for another hour and a half. This is a nice little treat for you, you know. It's just me and the tree I'm hugging. You want to, like, put this on while you're relaxing? Like, feel free. So, here I am in, Bristol. And how did I end up here? Well, I was walking in nowhere in particular, just going in like loads of different directions. And after you speak to people and you have the intention of going somewhere where you're supposed to be, nowhere in particular, if you pay attention to reality, it will point you in the right direction. And this feels like where I need to be. And in my opinion, that is the way of navigating your spiritual experience by, you've got to trust your intuition. Don't discard logic to a certain degree, like obviously not completely because you need it, like in order to have like order in your behavior and all that kind of thing. But, you know, intuitional intelligence is necessary. And if you want to like attain some sort of transcendence, you need to be able to sense the patterns of reality and stop measuring it and shit like that. Some things aren't measurable. Like you can't, they're not like, that doesn't mean they're not real. Like you're telling me emotions aren't real. Somebody might say like, oh, well, it's just chemicals and shit like that. Emotions and consciousness, and especially like what's called love, is the strongest thing that makes anything change in reality. So you're going to tell me that that's not real and it's all fucking based on chemicals in people's head? Like, I don't think so. If you think that, you're in for a rude awakening. And if you think that this rock that we happen to be on, we're just like a result of like sludge or something, like, yeah, that might be true in a certain sense, but why did the sludge make us? Like, you know, the universe is alive and it's very intelligent. Like there's a saying, I don't know who said it, but, the idea that intelligence was born out of an unintelligent universe is totally ridiculous. We are a manifestation of the universe. I mean, look at how sophisticated, like biology is, for example. Look at the brain. Look at how synchronized everything is. Why does it all work? How does it all work? Why and how? So, if I might pause because, throughout this, I might pause. And if you actually want to like stick around and hear what else it is I have to say, then you're either going to have to skip it or like just stick around because talking non-stop, like, if you just turn a camera on your own and with no sort of script or anything and start talking, you might find that it's not as easy as you think it is. 'Cause when I first started doing it, what ends up happening is, at least to me, you turn it on and like everything that your mind goes blank, but you get better at it. It's like it's a skill. It's not that big of a skill, really. I mean, it's just fucking chatting shit, really. But in order to actually progress whatever it is that you're talking about to something genuinely valuable, you need to sort of relax and let go and stop being so regimented in what you're saying. Because like me, throughout my life, I've always sort of winged like pretty much everything. Like I've never been one to plan very much, and maybe that's a weakness, but it's also provided like a strength in the way that my mind works. Improvisation is the key to life because you can never anticipate like what's going to happen. So if you can't improvise very well, then you're going to get caught out very easily. You have to be able to wing it. You never know what's round the corner. So yeah, planning's great and all that, but if you're not open to the fact that at some points there's going to be a her in the soup, then you're not even going to be able to deal with the fucking her when it's there. Like I'm struggling of coming up with ways to explain this to you. This fly, like, it will ruin our batch. We need to destroy it, or we're dead. There's no more room for error. Not with these people. Mr. White, like, why don't we just get some air? Like, air? Your solution? Mr. White, like, I'm saying that if we just go and get some air and then come down and subtract his ass. Okay. If you're not gonna help me, stay out of my way! Anybody who tells me that the Fly episode isn't good in Breaking Bad doesn't know what they're talking about. Like the character development in that episode, that it was like, they didn't have as big of a budget. If you're actually paying attention, the exchanges that happen in that episode are really quite important in the narrative of that story. And in terms of the whole Fly symbolism sort of thing, like, like people have interpretations of what it is, but Walter, essentially what's happening there is Walter White is on a path of kind of like self-destruction, but it's like an evolution of his character. And he's got to the point where he's been going around in like meaningless loops for his entire life, doing like things that like walking trodden paths and not really fulfilling his potential. And then he sees some sort of opportunity that's like not morally the greatest, but by the point he gets to that point in the story, season 3, episode 10, like he's got bored at that point, and his mind's like coming up with fucking things to focus on because everything's been ramping up and getting all dangerous and like unknown, and all of a sudden he's just turning up to work and making peanut butter and jam sandwiches. Like it's not his mind's thinking like like it needs a problem, so this fly turns up and he can't let it go. This fly, like I find it really funny, that episode. This is a raisin. No, he's here. Like, where is he? How long do you think you've not been asleep? Why do you keep asking me that? Like, it's well funny. And it's dead funny because at certain points, like, the acting's not the greatest, and then it goes like dead good. It's like a bit shit at first, like, he's there doing like calculations on that paper, like, vestiges, and then next minute he's like, I'm sorry about Jane. And it's like, I'm sorry if you haven't watched Breaking Bad, like, but I'm gonna bang on about it anyway because I like the Fly episode. Like, I've attempted to explain to Skylar, like, there must be some like combination of words, like in a certain way, in a certain specific order that would make her understand, but I can never seem to find them. I think he starts talking about like fucking, you know, the moment in which he would be happy dying. Like, you can't tell me that that's not, like, you might be thinking like, well, nobody gets like, that's not the one where he runs them over and shoots them. Like, you're missing the point. Like, often the best parts of all that's great when it's all dead. Like, whoa, but sometimes the good parts of as well in the stories are where it's like calm, but the meaning is there, and you understand like where characters are actually, the mental processes and what drives them and where they're coming from. And that Fly episode, like, right, there are certain filler episodes in shows and they're just shit, but that one was done perfectly. And the fact that it's rated low on, like, the general rating score just shows me that people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I mean, the greatest strength about that show, Breaking Bad, is the whole symbolism, like synchronized sort of like karmic representation of reality. It's actually done, and that's probably the best thing that I've ever seen that depicts like karma in reality in a symbolic way. I haven't seen a show that's done it better than that. But it's interesting. When I've been on like psychedelics in the past, like I remember watching Layer Cake on acid. That was fucking mad. The colours, like, and all that. Like, yeah, that was, I really enjoyed watching that on acid. Like, I can't remember what else I watched on acid. I remember watching a lot of YouTube and shit like that, but that wasn't even acid when I did that. Because if you ever have a psychedelic experience, if all you want to do is watch the telly, then you're not doing it right. Like, you need to go and pay attention to like fucking real life, really. But watching like a very stimulating and story is also like very good thing to do. But I wouldn't go like, today, like, it's our bi-monthly like watch along of summer, like on acid. No, it's there as a perceptive tool, but I've already talked about the dangers of it and that it isn't to be relied upon. But my current standpoint of it is like, say you're on a journey, at some point you might want a little bit of help to look within, and I would say that that's what psychedelics are actually there for. But if you're taking them all the time, like, I don't think that's a good idea, because you might be taking them for fun. You might be taking them out of like, curiosity of the perceptive nature of them. you might be taking them out of like greed for knowledge, whatever it is. What you've got to understand is that you have to be able to, I've spoke about this before and I'll say it again, you have to be able to navigate reality with your own set of tools and senses. So if you're ever relying on something, like, for example, people that rely on cocaine for a sense of confidence, like, anybody who's took that to the nth degree will tell you how fucking bad of an idea that is. And I've never had a problem with cocaine. But I thought it was pretty. I think it's shit, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not going to say that, like, I'm never going to do it again, because if somebody puts it in front of me and says, "Do you want a key of this?" Like, the rascal in me's thinking, like, "Yeah, come on." But like, um, because sometimes you've got to be an idiot, aren't you? If you want to be snorting some like dental ointment, like concrete crap off a fucking front door key to have a mad one out with the lads and the girls, then go right ahead. But at least know what you're doing. Like, you know, yeah, but drugs are tools, aren't they? I mean, you can demonize any of them, but ketamine's used for depressive treatment. Psychedelics can heal the hippocampus. Morphine's very effective for pain relief. You know, weed can be very creatively stimulating, and it can also be good for pain relief and all that kind of thing. There's always a fucking use, unless it's some like synthetic spice or crap, like, you know what I mean? Um, but there's also negative sides to them, and anything that you can gratify yourself with will always have a negative side. Like, people think that you ought to be eating clean all the time. I think you ought to just have a piece of cake every now and again, me. Um, because if you don't, like, me mate Alan Watts said, like, some people crack on, like, you have like a piece of embroidery, like one side's like doved up to look like, the side that you want to be looking at, and the other side's like a bit fucked up because it's, black. You get the picture, like, party in the back, like business at the front. Um, and people act like they're not doing that, they don't have the other side of the embroidery, or they don't do all the stupid things like sweeping the dust under the rug, which is again what Alan Watts said. And you can think that you don't do those things, but you do them. And even if you avoid them in some degree of your behavior, it will manifest in another, because the darkness in your consciousness, it can't be suppressed completely. I don't believe that it can. The point is balance. You can't just be holier like than thou. I'm only light and not darkness. That doesn't work. I'm telling you. Now, I'm not saying that you should submit to ridiculous habits. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying find balance and actually give yourself like the okay to be a bit of a fucking rascal sometimes. Because if anything, that's healthy so long as it's actually controlled. And when I say control, I wouldn't necessarily say like a firm grip on it either, because letting go is often control, madly enough. I'm getting like sick of sitting like that. It's doing me back in. Oh, so you've got to let go in order to have control. Like, to be all and end all. You hold on, you're gonna lose control. Of course, it's all relative. I think I'm gonna turn this off soon. It's like this will probably take like 5 million years to upload this. Especially considering I'm having to use Wi-Fi because I couldn't be bothered installing data, but take ages with data anyway. I mean, I don't want to be looking at this phone all the time. I'm already looking at it enough because I have like the ability to make these videos now. Gotta get a grip of it. Or let go of it, whichever fucking one applies to this situation. Uh, it's funny how different you look in like different light in it, because like I'd say me, like I've looked at myself on different videos. I'd say I look pretty good in this light. Like wow, it's picking up my facial features quite well. But in other lightings, you're thinking like, well, what's happened? And you can say like, oh well, you're being vain. Yeah, but like if if a transcendental character might show up as Watto off Star Wars for a laugh, but its actual form's probably going to be quite beautiful in a physical sense, whatever that means in like a light dimension. Like because if you're actually like a being of transcendence, you're going to be like going to want to be attractive to a certain degree because attraction's what it's all about. And I don't necessarily mean physical attraction, but just like you want to be able to attract other attractive souls. You know what I mean? And I mean attractive in the sense of like yes, aesthetics and virtue and like and all that. Yeah, I think I'm getting fed up of talking now. So if you made it this far, like I hope that whatever I said serves some sort of purpose to you. Nice one.